What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another topsy-turvy day in the world of Malamarkets, where we discuss the Pokemon trading card game market as it relates to buying, selling, and trading cards. And today, we have my buddy, the legendary Money, aka PokéMoney, here. We are going to be discussing Evolving Skies, and we did a little bit of a comparison between booster box ripping versus blister pack ripping to see which had better pull rates, and we're going to debrief that a little bit. So thank you, Money, for joining us here today.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here with Malamarkets. And again, like you said, just excited to dive into the booster box and blister comparison.
Absolutely. So high level, like, what was your initial reaction? Did you go in with any expectation, I guess? Or like, do you have any preconceived notion, let's say, there?
Yeah.
What would have better pulls?
Your side of it, right, is you had the preconceived notion that blisters were better. I had the preconceived notion that boosters were better. So this challenge is really, really good. And like, it opens up the envelope to really have a debate conversation around. Exactly. To have that debate and that dialogue. So I had the notion that boosters won, or were going to win. I don't know that they did win. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Excited to dive into it with you today.
I ripped booster boxes for Chilling Reign Battle Styles. I didn't get a single alt art card. So for me, flipping that and just assuming like, all right, well, there's got to be something better on the blister side. I think that's why I was a little bit more drawn to that side initially. And then after, getting the Rayquaza and the Sylveon, that kind of sold it for me in that capacity, no matter what else was pulled.
Yeah, true. I mean, when you did your video, right, and you had the boosters to the blisters and you pulled both of those alt arts on the blister side.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, how's the booster box going to recover? Me going into it, I pulled the Rainbow Chunkachu from Vivid Voltage out of a booster. So it was like, nothing could top this. Like, boosters all the way, boosters to the moon. And but when you shot the video, I was like, wow, this is changing me, like my mindset and thought process, because the blisters, I think they won it. And here's kind of my analysis, if you will.
Okay.
In terms of how you can look at this, right? Like how we can figure out the debate. I mean, and there will be tons of different viewpoints, but the booster box, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 EV evolutions, okay, that came out of the boosters that I can quickly see off my notes. For the blisters, there was 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there was 3 EV evolutions. So it's like, if you're chasing, like Evolving Skies, right? It's all about EV evolutions, the alt arts, things like that. Yeah, there they are. There they are. It's like, if you're chasing those, the booster might have won in that category.
Fair.
Right? But the blisters, on the flip side, if you're talking about rarity, I mean, you can't beat the Rayquaza that you called Mr. Babe Ruth of Pokemon himself called. And then the Sylveon. So it depends as a collector of what you're after, I think.
Totally which card you pull within said rarity. Like if you're breaking it down and what's the name of it? I think I referenced it before, the charizardcard.com or something. They do, I think that's the name of the site. They do mass pull rate calculations where they'll do rip thousands of packs and just see what's in there, right? So if you're pulling a rainbow card or a golden rare, secret rare card, whatever, they're going to have the same pull rates basically, unless you're looking for a specific one, and then all of a sudden that becomes more difficult, right? But I pulled these 3, but they just happen to not be. So this is Full Face Guard, Stormy Mountains, and the Frostlass. They just happen to not be the more desirable ones that you could pull on the secret rare side of things. So that can impact. Like if you're looking at purely from rarity perspective, that's pretty cool, but if you're looking at it from which ones were pulled, who's winning in that capacity, well, that's kind of gets a little bit of a ding, even though those are tougher cards to pull.
Could we maybe figure out a way in which, and there are people that do it in great capacity to like run statistics, things like that, but for this, like, right? Yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how you guys are able to fund this, but it's fantastic.
Yes.
Just keep doing it. I think see, that's why it's so tough. Like, I think truly, like, from your video, like this comparison, like I think the blisters won, but there's elements of the booster that make me second guess that.
Off my video, but I saw someone else on YouTube recently open 8 packs, and they pulled 8 hollows, but they were 8, you know, regular old school hollows that no one really cares about anymore. So it's like, I got a hit, but like, whatever, who cares? You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah,
that's what makes it subjective, right? Like pulling 8 hits on 8 packs, that's freaking crazy. You know, like the odds of doing that are insane. But would I be happy if I did that? Hell no, I would not be happy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm so pissed.
Yeah, you want to be able to like okay, so you got 8 hits, you got the 8 hollows, like that's sweet, that's awesome. But the thing is, it's like, where's the banger? Like, where's like the really sweet hit where it's a VMAX, it's a golden card, it's just all art. Like, you want to be able to take that like a step further. Like, it's cool, but you were 100%, but you know, you're hitting singles versus like, where's the home run? Like, knock it out of the park.
That's an interesting thing that came up too. It doesn't, the cards matter. It's not just on paper, the pull and, you know, what rate it should have happened and how many you got or whatever, because like, who cares if you pulled like, you know, like we showed with the golden trainers or whatever, you know, if you're pulling like, you know, all hitters, then holy crap, it's amazing. But like, it's not just on paper. I honestly would almost rather pull or get 8 packs, going back to that scenario, with nothing in them than 8 hollows. I just feel robbed at that point. Like, are you serious? You know? So it's funny how something that like on the surface level seems like there's an objective way to measure it, it can actually be so completely subjective as to, you know, which one or which was better. You know, that's what was interesting about it to me.
The other like alternative, and in terms of hits, big hits, because again, like maybe you add like a scale to it. You had like more variety as well as rarity. So like in terms of card, I guess, dimension, if you will, like the spectrum, the way in which the cards were delivered in the blister, like you got your variety. Like, you, in my eyes, like that would be a win for the blister side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, it's hard to argue with the alt art. Like, as soon as like, you know, I pulled that one, the Rayquaza or whatever, it's like, oh, that nothing else mattered to me. I could have gotten no hollows the entire rest of the time in that one.
Because I mean, like, that's the card. Like, the artwork is sick. It's like flying away, and I think you said the quality of the card was pretty decent. So like bad. That's exciting.
It's not bad. Which also is another factor too. Not that, you know, there are other sides to it as well, obviously. But even if you get a good pull, if the print quality is not up to par, does that, in your mind, make the pull worse? Like, does that change your opinion on whether that was a great pull or that was a big win? Like, is there a little bit of you that's like, you know what I mean? Like a little cringe when you see like, oh God, this is so perfect. But, you know, do you feel that way at all?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, it's like down to printing, and unless you're there on like boots on the ground, like you're in the facility, right, in the manufacturing, like I don't know that we'll ever know if there's a, like, let's just imagine a conveyor belt. If there's like a way in which printing goes to boosters and a way in which goes to blisters, and then like the way in which they cut those packs, I imagine that it all goes to some type of reservoir and then it gets shipped off and packaged in that regard. So I don't think there's a way in which we would ever know in terms of print quality for this comparison between the two. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that the Sylveon Alt Art had terrible OC. Like, I wish that it was better, but yeah, I mean, it's obviously not ideal.
Going off what you just said, though, I wonder, and like, you know, I guess I never really put my manufacturing hat on, but if you think about it, right, if I were to make a booster box, 36 packs, seal it up, let's assume that they're making the packs the same way, and then maybe, you know, some get moved off to the left to get, you know, packaged into boosters, and then some go off to the right for blister packaging, you know? Let's say that that's happening. So you would think then 36 packs in a row are getting pulled into the booster box. I don't know if that's true, but just high level, let's assume that, right? On the blister side of things, it depends on where and when and how you're buying all of them. How do you know that all 36 of those were consecutive packs, for example? I wonder if that actually is what makes them, like, I've heard other people say blisters before. I wonder if that is where some of that might come from, if it is true that those have better pull rates because it's more randomized. So maybe you have more blister openings where you get nothing, but then also you're like more on the extreme side of things because it's so random, versus a booster box. If it's coming off a print line, you would think that in a 36 print line, there's going to be a bell curve of, okay, here's, the cards, there's going to be X amount of secret rares, X amount, whatever. And obviously with some sort of, deviation a little bit, but I wonder if that is more of a normal distribution from a booster box because of how it's made versus blisters, where you don't really know. Like, I could go to Target right now and get 10 of them and then get another 10 from the Pokemon Center, another few elsewhere, and because it's random where they're pulled, maybe that is actually what causes something possibly on the higher end and lower ends. Just an interesting thought I have. But
no, that's a great thought, and I kind of agree with it. All right, for our simplicity and the assumptions we're making, like, I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
but I mean, who knows? Because it's like we will never know until we work for them. At the end of the day,
right now I'm applying. Yeah, let's go.
That's right. Once you get in, refer me. Hopefully we'll take it over together. And that's the thing. So it's like, I agree with that point. Like, the blisters could have a higher rarity, so it's polarizing, right? Like, the spectrum becomes very broad and it could be in one direction for the blisters. But to your point, for the printing, for boosters, if it's coming off a print line, like, hopefully they're able to package it in a way in which there's that VMAX that you got, right? There's that Umbreon, there's that golden card. And I think not the only, because you can look at this several different ways, but another way in which we can look at this and dive into it is like value, right? When you come down, like, as collectors, or as people that resell, whomever may be watching this video, the booster box in comparison to the blister, in terms of like resale value, like, I think that's another dimension in which we can try to figure out a comparison to who won this battle. Like, where should you put your money, right? If you're collecting, if you're investing, if you're collecting or investing in Pokemon, where can you put your money in this comparison? I think my initial judgment, and this is just like off the top of my head, I haven't like ran the numbers, but I think it would be blisters again. Because the alt arts, the secret rares, like, you only got the VMAX, I believe, in one gold card from the booster.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, it's an interesting thought. I had the same thought too. Like, convenience-wise, it's much easier to buy and hold a booster box because it's just very nice and compact and condensed right there. I've never really looked at that. I wonder if you look at something that's a little older, maybe like Sun Moon era kind of stuff that's a little easier to get on the blister side of things too. I wonder what 36 packs would sell for versus, a booster box, of like, I don't know, Burning Shadows, let's say, or something like that, or like even like a team up where I've seen plenty of blisters hanging around, versus actually the booster box of it. That'd be an interesting thing to see, because if you're collecting that long term, it depends on if you're keeping it sealed or open. Now, blisters clearly have way more value than a loose pack. If you just had loose packs lying around, just because you never know what kind of tampering goes on, that kind of stuff. But no, it's an interesting thought for sure.
Yeah, in your opinion, all right, let's say we were trying to summarize this video and you were trying to give your final take. Who do you think won?
Enough said.
Enough said. Yeah,
that was like the highlight of my life right there. So it's just tough to compete with, But it had to be the blisters. I do think, I have another booster box of Evolving Skies that I'm just gonna save and hold at this point.
Okay. Because you pulled the card. You pulled the card. You called it.
If I want to pick up some others, I will pick up some others, just like singles, you know what I mean? But to me, like, that was a good enough a pull and good enough hit from the blister side that I don't feel like I need to go out and scramble and buy more. you know, like, so to me, it scratched the itch. So that's another way to look at it too, I guess. Like that side scratched the itch versus same. If I had that booster box, which was the same as my battle style pulls, the same as my Chilling Rain pulls, and that booster box too, where I got not one alt art in all 3 of those sets from booster boxes, I would still be going out and buying more and pulling because of that. You know what I mean? So that's my take. I don't know if you feel similarly or differently after seeing it.
No, I mean, watching the video and the pools, I think I got to agree with you. Like, I think the blister side won. You got to, like we were talking about throughout this whole video, like the printing side could be a potential issue. The EV Evolutions wasn't there. But like at the end of the day, right, it goes back to exactly what you just showed on camera. Like the all arts, the big pulls. And like, that's, you know, that's what as collectors excites us. And then even if you're an investor, like long term, that's a hold. And then to your point, you hold a booster box, right? And then you just, maybe you want to rip in the future with your kids, like you said, or you want to hold on to it to potentially save and invest. Like, I think because it's more compactable, it's easier to manage as well as like transport, things like that, and like keep safe. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Blizzards won. I mean, show it one more time, because that Rayquaza is just, look at that. It's just too nice. It's so cool. Yeah, that's right. Dude, Mr. Babe Ruth of Pokemon calling a shot. Like, oh, what a card. Too cool.
Dude, highlight of my life, no joke. But thanks for taking the time to be on this combo today. Are there any thoughts you want to wrap up with here?
Yeah, I mean, final thoughts. I mean, I think we pretty much covered it. Blisters won on our side. I think the comparison was great. I think it's knowledgeable. Hopefully this video becomes of value to people. They watch it, and then hopefully this summary allows people to go watch the main video that you have on your site. So that'd be really cool. It's definitely worth the watch. It's long, but it's worth it.
At least the pulse. At least the pulse. But great. This, thanks again for doing this. This was great. This is what's beautiful about the Pokemon community, just meeting people you've never met before about similar passions and interests, and just getting to nerd out and talk about it, you know? So thanks a lot. It's great doing this with you, and hopefully we can do more again in the future.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. It was a blast. And just keep up the great content. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you as well. Definitely, for everyone who's listening, appreciate you guys all tuning in as well. Check out PokéMoney on Instagram and YouTube too. And of course, you can find Malum Markets on Instagram and YouTube as well. Thanks again for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.
Until next time.